Welcome back to another episode of BBQn Sports. Appreciate all of you tuning in as always. We have a good beer here to try for you today, but first, Weaver, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, the biggest bright spot of the whole thing is we were there and it was a win. So
Yeah.
that was the best thing about the whole thing is we did buy some last minute tickets and go to the game. It was a victory, but wasn't great. I mean, you really want to win a little more convincing against a 2-5 going into the game Giants team. It's pretty sad, honestly. At times, the offense looked okay. I really liked how they were dinking and dunking, especially on that first early drive, taking everything underneath, everything they were giving us. And we put together a really good drive just to turn the ball over. And then obviously we got the pick from Willie Gay, and we got it right back where we were. But yeah, I mean, very disappointing win, honestly. I mean, we can't expect to win. We can't expect to win next week against the Packers if we play like that. We dominated time of possession. We had a lot of first downs, 368 total yards. Derek Gore got to see some playing time, 11 carries, 47 yards, I believe. It was pretty apparent when he was in that he was going to run the ball. That's literally all he did. But, I mean, it was fun to be there. It was a good atmosphere, but boy, only winning by 3. I mean, I said we were going to win 28-25 last week. So I said we were only going to win by 3. We did only win by 3, but I was really hoping for a little more performance out of the Chiefs. Pretty rough.
So I agree with pretty much everything you said. I do think the Giants are playing a little bit better than their record right now. I'm not saying the 3-point win was acceptable, but they did come off a 25-point win against the Panthers. I think they've looked better as the season's went on. I don't think they're a team that's a playoff team. Obviously, I think it's a team we should have definitely beat. But I think the Giants are a little bit better than what their record says. That being said, their offense looked terrible. Our defense looked better for sure. But speaking on our offense, Patrick Mahomes last night on passes, but everyone wanted us to take what the defense was giving them. So in a sense, they did it. Passes behind the line of scrimmage, he was 15 for 15 for 121 yards, 165 yards after catch. Most completions behind the line of scrimmage in a game since 2016. 15 for 15 on passes behind the line of scrimmage. So they did dink and dunk.
Yeah.
With that being said, passes that traveled beyond the line of scrimmage, that means he was only 14 for 33 for 154 yards. So that's not an acceptable statistic.
Very
I don't know.
ironic. Very ironic that they dinked and dunked with Alex Smith in attendance. But obviously,
Yeah.
like if we're going to be
There's a tribute.
successful, yeah, it was very ironic. But if we're going to be successful, we got to take that underneath stuff. So I was really happy to see it. And that first drive, it felt good. That first drive felt really good. Hey, maybe it's just because we were sitting sixth row and every play just, you know, looked so immaculate from that position. But seriously, like it felt like it was going to be different. I felt like the game was going to be different. And then as soon as we turned the ball over, I'm like, here we go again. It wasn't Mahomes' fault. I mean, just insanity what's happening right now with these turnovers. Then Willie Gay picks the ball off, and I'm like, game over, game over. But honestly, it wasn't game over. That game became way too close and was drug out. Honestly, it was horrible.
So that interception, like that is the epitome of how the Chiefs season is going. It went through Josh Gordon's hand, off Josh McKinnon's head, and they dove and intercepted the ball. Like you can't make this stuff up.
It's insane.
Um, but I think I have been preaching one of these guys' names. Last year I preached the other guy's name. Me and you both did. And then I've been preaching this other guy's name these last 5 weeks or so. Nick Bolton and Willie Gay. As bad as this defense looks, man, I am so happy they are on our team because we have not had competent linebackers since Derek Johnson. And I'm not talking about Derek Johnson at the end of his career. I'm talking about Derek Johnson like 3 years before he retired. Uh, they're going to be linebackers that are going to be around in Kansas City for a while. And if they aren't, then we aren't doing something right because they're definitely the best two linebackers. We have Anthony Hitchens making $11 million a year, and I hope he doesn't touch the field the rest of the season when he's healthy. Like, I don't want him. Ben Neiman and Anthony Hitchens just sit on the sideline. Willie Gay's athletic enough to play third downs. He can be our third down linebacker. And Nick Bolton against the run, man. That dude's in on every play against the run.
Yeah, Nick Bolton's got 43 solo tackles so far, so he's tied 8th right now, which is really good for a rookie.
He's leading all rookies, I know that.
Yeah. I mean, just being 8th in the league is really good. So,
yeah. Last night,
he had 4, and he assisted
in
7?
Tackles. Yeah, 4 tackles, assisted in 7. So technically he led in tackles when you add that 7 assists.
Speaking of which, kind of big news today. We traded for Melvin Ingram. Obviously, he's going to be on the line. He's been playing linebacker, outside linebacker for the Steelers. But do you think that's going to be a big impact? Do you even see him playing this week?
I don't know. He won't be an every down player. He'll come in on third downs and pass rushing situations. It kind of adds a little depth to our D line. A D line that has struggled to get to the quarterback. If there's one thing that Melvin Ingram can still do in his career, it's get to the quarterback. He hasn't been great in Pittsburgh, and the fact that Pittsburgh is battling us for the wild card position and they were so willing to get rid of him kind of makes you think maybe we shouldn't have been trading for him. But I don't know. It's just frustrating because he visited Kansas City before the season. We let him go sign with Pittsburgh. Then we give up a 6th-round pick for a guy that a team that we're battling in the wild card for wants to get rid of. Obviously, like...
A lot of irony there, yeah. I find it ridiculous that we went and sought after a guy that we just didn't go get. We had every possibility, or we could have signed him. Yeah. So I find it a little ridiculous that we had to give up a pick.
He had a tryout in Kansas City before he went to Pittsburgh. He had a workout in Kansas City. The next day went and worked out in Pittsburgh, and then signed the next day with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
we should never let him left the facility if we wanted him. Like, we should just sign him then.
I mean, I think it's an upgrade. I think he'll be helpful to the team. I mean, it's not going to hurt the pass rush, that's for sure.
I do think he'll help in situations. It's just he can't play every down anymore. He'll be in pass rushing situations. And Frank Clark looked a little bit better last night. Chris Jones looked better from when he started playing the inside in the second half. Maybe if all 3 of them can get in there. I mean, we've got to get to the quarterback at some point. We've been so terrible getting to the quarterback.
We were playing the Giants. Man. I mean, they're
yeah. I mean, everyone can say that all they want. Everyone can say that all they want, but we haven't gotten to the quarterback against any team. So I mean, It's a step in the right direction.
They showed up right at the end of the game. I guess that's all that mattered, huh?
I mean, the defense played well yesterday. What are you talking about?
Frank Clark and Jones, back-to-back sacks towards the end of the game. So.
Yeah. Well, the problem with our defense is we're built to put teams in passing situations and then get to the quarterback. We haven't put teams in passing situations all year. Like, at one time we were allowing like an average. I'm not kidding. An average of like 11 yards on first down. That's an unheard of statistic, but it's a true statistic.
But the defense did look better. I mean, considering you are playing the Giants, but it did look better. So I mean, I guess that's another plus to the game. But honestly, like it's pretty disappointing overall.
Yeah, I think in a 3-4 season when we have looked like we can't win a single game, I'll take a win. I'm not saying I'm excited about us winning the Super Bowl, but everyone's upset about how we won. I'll take the win.
Yeah. I'm kind of beat up about how we won, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. So we got Green Bay Packers next week. They're sitting.
Somehow the Chiefs are still favored.
Okay, so it switched. It went back, right? So right after the game, supposedly the Packers were then favored. And I heard it was split. Now I heard it was like straight up.
It wasn't right after the game. It's because everyone. You see how much money went onto the Packers?
Oh, okay.
So, like, straight up, like 90% of bets were betting on the Packers on the money line. And then on the points line, like 85% of bets were betting on the Packers. But for some reason, it swayed back down. The Chiefs were 1-point favorites last I saw. I don't know what it is now. Last I saw, the Chiefs were 1-point favorites. It went from Chiefs were 2.5-point favorites to Green Bay 1-point favorites to now Chiefs 1-point favorites.
So
And I don't know what it is right this second.
so what do we got to do to actually beat the Packers? I mean, we've obviously got to score more points.
Well, the Packers' run defense has been terrible this year, so start by running the football more than we have in most games.
Yeah. So I mean, they're giving up. So their points per game is 24 points per game versus ours 26.9. That doesn't really mean too much, honestly, because you're playing different teams and stuff.
And we're allowing 29 points per game, I think, or something like that.
Yes, yeah. The opponent's points are 20.9 and 29 for us. So obviously we're giving up a lot more points. So
That's the difference.
yeah, that's the big difference there. So I don't know. I mean, we are. I mean, we're putting up more yards than them every game, but I mean, we're also turning the ball over 11. We've turned the ball over 11 more times than them. So yeah, I mean, I think the key, if we want a shot to win the game, we just gotta not turn the ball over.
I mean, I agree. I think I've been preaching that. We've been preaching that all year. Like the Chiefs' offense, regardless of what people want to think, the Chiefs' offense has moved the ball all year. Like they've at the beginning, actually the first 5 games, it was like a historic pace how they were moving the football. And they're still one of the top teams for first downs, yards, good points. But the problem is we have a negative 17 turnover differential or something stupid like that. We can't force turnovers, and we turn the ball over more than anyone in the NFL. And we can't get to the quarterback. We can't get sacks.
Basically, we're not very good.
Yeah. So obviously everyone's very excited. Daniel Sorensen's been off the field lately. He still plays when there's 3 safeties, but that's about it. When Thornhill, Matthew, and Sorensen are all on the field. I saw a stat yesterday. When Daniel Sorensen is targeted this year, opposing quarterbacks are 19 for 23 for 345 yards.
That is insane.
That's like 19 yards of reception. He's only caused 4 incompletions the entire season. They're probably drop passes. He probably wasn't even anywhere around, to be honest.
You shared that statistic with me earlier, and I could not believe that statistic. I mean, that is mind-boggling. Just keep the guy off the field. He has no business being on the field in
Basically,
coverage.
when you target Daniel Sorensen, you become what Patrick Mahomes has been in the last couple years. Before this year, the last couple years. Like every quarterback can be Patrick Mahomes if they just throw to whoever Sorensen's covering.
Well, maybe we need to trade Sorensen to the Packers. Maybe we'll have a chance to beat them.
There we go. Trade Sorensen to the Packers. Patrick Mahomes will become himself again, and everything will be fixed.
Man. We want to talk a little bit about the Tardif trade. Tardif got traded to the Jets today for a tight end, so I guess we can finally pull out that T-Rex formation because we'll actually have 4 active tight ends again.
I think that how they were talking, he's he'll be a special teams guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we have 10. We're deep at offensive line right now. We have 10 or 11 guys, but you don't need 10 or 11 offensive linemen. They were trying to get rid of a little bit of cap because Tardif makes a little bit more money than
that was
average,
the big thing. So we got $1.5 million cap room space there by trading him. So that frees us up if somebody is available off of waivers and we can sign. Again, that probably wouldn't be somebody that's really going to help us too much, but yeah, I mean, good for Tardif. I mean, he was great for us while he was here, and really respect his time here, and obviously, for the community and what he's done as a doctor is really important. So, yeah, I mean, sad to see him go, but obviously he wasn't going to get his time to shine anymore with our new young offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. I like Tardif a lot. Both of us did actually. I think you talked about getting a jersey one time at one point. One of his jersey. He just seems like a genuine dude, and he had a nice heartfelt tweet that he sent out after the trade, basically saying he loved his time in Kansas City and he'll always love Kansas City and thank you for everything for the fans and all that. Not calling us toxic. He was saying thank you.
Speaking of calling us toxic. Man, so it's time.
It's really ironic. Hold on, it's really ironic that the quarterback who had us on the verge but could never get us there came back to beat the drum the week after our safety called us toxic and got the biggest standing ovation someone could possibly get. But the fan base is toxic.
Yeah.
Get off social media.
So speaking of which, like, it's time for me to get a new jersey. I need to buy a new jersey. My Quit jersey, like the letters are literally falling off. So it's time for me to get a new jersey. And Matthew was definitely up there on my list. I'm not so sure I want a Matthew jersey anymore, really, honestly, after this shenanigans with him and the fans. And I mean, he did apologize, but that could lead to him not being here very much longer, honestly. Like, that being said, if I'm gonna pick a New Jersey, I think I'm going Bolton. Like, I think that's gonna be my pick. Like, this guy's balling out.
That's a good choice, man. I would go with that.
I think he's gonna be
I
here
might
long
get a
term.
Willie Gay jersey. I might get a Willie Gay jersey and just be the linebacking crew.
Yes.
I think Tyrann Mathieu likes Kansas City. I think he likes Kansas City a lot, and I think he is very emotional on the field and off the field. But man, that word toxic, it's gonna linger. Like it's never gonna go away. When you call a fan base, yeah. And the problem is he's had problems like this before. In Houston, he got into it with fans on social media. You
see this a lot with professional players in all sports. Why can't they just stay away from it? Honestly, like
I don't know.
You know how many trolls? It's like 90% trolls. The people that are in there just messaging you, they're trying to get that response from you. That's all they want. And then you let them win.
It has to be kind of discouraging at some point, though. Like, the season's going terribly. I agree with you completely, but also at the same time, the season's going terribly, and you got some dude that has never played football in his life over here telling you how pathetic you are and how terrible you are and everything else. He's like, can you just shut the up? Like, don't
get me wrong. Like, I get it. Like, I understand how frustrating that would be for sure. But then, like, to come out and say the fan base is toxic, like, you are literally tweeting on pure emotion and not thinking about it at all. Like, come on, man, you got to be better than that.
The bad thing is it wasn't even like his tweet. It was on Instagram. There was some random fan page. I've never even heard of this fan page. I follow a lot of fan pages. Never even heard of these people. They put something out about what was the worst deal that Veach has made or something like that. And they had Anthony Hitchens on there. They had Frank Clark on there. I don't even know if Tyrann Mathieu was on it. I don't think he was an option, to be honest. And then Anthony Hitchens responded and said, yeah, we just won one Super Bowl, went to 2 Super Bowls, made 3 AFC championship games, blah, 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 horrible deals or something like that. I don't know. And then Tyrann Mathieu got on there and said something about the fan base being toxic. And, like, how do you go on to Instagram? Like, some of these things that Tyrann Mathieu responds to on social media, he's not even tagged in. So that means he's, like, they just put his name in it. So he's going and searching his name and seeing what people are saying about him. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's...
Why would you even...
Because you think you're above yourself, I guess. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, maybe if I was a big name, I mean, maybe I should just Google myself right now. Maybe they're talking about us on our podcast on Twitter and stuff right now. But no, I mean, I guess maybe if I was a bigger figure, I would maybe want to know what some people are saying, like just what's the news about Tyrann Mathieu, especially on like a platform like Twitter or, Instagram. I don't have Instagram, so honestly, I don't even know how it works. But I assume like even on Twitter, you could just search your name and things would pop up. So like
even if they don't tag you, stuff will pop up.
So like it would be entertaining, or it would be something to do to look at. But yeah, I mean
but he's got to be tagged in enough stuff. Yeah, he's got to be tagged in enough by fans. Why are you searching your name for more stuff that you've been mentioning?
He hasn't replied to anything I tagged him. And what's all the positive things that he's tagged in? Like, honestly, like, respond to those, man.
That's what's frustrating. How many fans are begging Veach to make a deal or give him a deal? Like, everyone's like, hey, we got to sign Tyrann Mathieu. We got to sign Tyrann Mathieu. We got to sign Tyrann Mathieu. Everybody in Kansas City wants you to be signed long term, and you're out here calling the fan base toxic?
Yeah, because you got 10 guys running around that are, complaining about how I don't even know what you're really complaining about with Matthew, honestly. Like he's pulling off a little bit on tackles, maybe, it doesn't look like he's really getting after people that way, but he's always been
I mean,
more of a playmaker guy. Like he's more of like the strip the ball, make the big play guy.
He's not making the big plays though this year. I mean, the first 2 games he had an interception each game, and then since then he hasn't. I mean, we haven't even heard his name. I mean, honestly, other than when he calls the fan base toxic.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna just say it right now. Tyrann Mathieu, you need an interception this week. You need an interception this week, okay? I'm calling it just like I called the guy dropping the punt at the game Monday, and everybody around me is like, wow, you need to do that every time. Unfortunately, we didn't recover it, but that was pretty crazy.
For reference, the first punt of the game yesterday, Kadarius Toney's about to receive the punt, and Weaver goes, drop it! And he fumbles the football. They jumped on him, but he fumbled the football.
Almost. It was almost a great moment, but
it was still legendary.
Oh, man.
All right, so I wore this Travis Kelce jersey for a reason today. I had a reason why I wore this. Travis Kelce is one of the greatest tight ends that's ever played. I'm not going to say he's the greatest tight end that's ever played because there's a lot of great tight ends when you start peeling it back. One of them played here in Kansas City, Tony Gonzalez. But has anyone noticed Travis Kelce's demeanor as this year's went on? Like, I get it. I get being frustrated. But some plays, he just looks like he hates his life, man. Like, he doesn't even look like he wants to be out there. Like, I just don't even, like, he used to be the guy that brought the emotion and got the team going.
But that got him in trouble. Weren't we complaining 3-4 years ago about that emotion and him getting penalties and him getting into scuffles and stuff because of that?
There's a difference. He still showed emotion for the last 3 years. He just hasn't went up to the guy and jacked off and pushed the cornerback in the back.
Like, yeah, I agree. Like, I think
now he's standing like this, walking back to the huddle. Literally, there were like 3 plays in a row, and I said something to you about it too. He's just like trotting back to the huddle, like it was right after a holding call, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm still here," like somebody on that they don't even look like they want to play right now.
Well, I don't think. You think all of them are like that, or just Travis Kelce?
Well, I think Travis Kelce is the one who brings the energy, and I think a lot of them act like that now. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just frustrated with how they're playing and looking for.
I mean, maybe did him and Caleb break up again? I mean, I think they're still together, but I don't.
He's at all the games.
Yeah,
with Brittany.
I don't know. I would prefer him to be honestly like I hated the penalties, but I loved the energy that he brought. So I don't know what's going on. I'm sure it's something.
What I'm saying, dude.
I'm sure it's something. When I played basketball, it has to be.
When I played basketball, I didn't get in trouble for getting technicals, but I promise you, I brought energy. Like you can ask anybody I played with, I was there to hype everyone up. And there's a way to bring energy and not get penalties, and he's done it for the last 3 years. Basically, ever since he pushed the Steelers cornerback when it screwed us in the playoff game, he's been a lot better. But he still brought energy to the games. And I don't know. This year, he just looks like he hates his life and doesn't want to be there.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess, I don't think that I don't know, man. I guess Mahomes he doesn't really bring that fire except when he makes big plays. Like, do you think it's because they're not doing well, or do you think it's something behind the scenes? I think it's something behind the scenes that's not being talked about.
I think it's because they're not doing well, but I don't know.
I mean, you're right. It kind of looks like they're not having fun anymore out there. It does. Like,
I mean, they used to be the most entertaining people to watch, man, and now it just looks like, we're here. We're here to lose another game, whatever.
Or maybe it's just been there, done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe they're content, and that's why they're not out there with fire anymore. I don't know.
I definitely. I think you're right, though. I think that probably has a lot to do with how we've played this season. I mean, other than the fact that our receivers just can't catch balls. When they just turn into interceptions.
It's rough to watch, though. I never thought I would see a time when we have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes, And I would say last night our biggest issue was our receivers couldn't create space downfield. Like nobody was open, and when they were open, Patrick Mahomes just didn't hit them. Like I never thought that would be the biggest issue, and that was the biggest issue last night. We actually ran the ball decently well. We actually had some good little like I said, 15 of 15 for 121 yards on passes behind the line of scrimmage. But when we threw downfield, receivers weren't getting open. If they were getting open, Mahomes wasn't even looking at them. Like I never thought that would be our issue, but that was our biggest issue last night.
Well, yeah, so I think a lot of that had to do with the game plan, honestly. Like I think they really took to heart, hey, if they're gonna give us the dink and duck stuff, let's take it. Let's not be as risky. Let's take that. Let's run the ball and get down the field. I think that has a lot to do with why you
So,
think.
how do you explain the 14 for 33 for 154 yards when we threw it beyond the line of scrimmage?
I don't know. I guess you
Yeah,
can't really
yeah.
explain that.
I mean, there were times I don't know. We just Travis Kelsey looks like he's covered on every play, and he used to look like he was open on every single play he ran out for a route. There was one right before the game, the field goal that we kicked at the end. That was probably the. I watched a lot of. I honestly watched like half the game today. Not gonna lie, just because I was looking at stuff. And there was a play right on third down when Patrick Mahomes slid right before we kicked that field goal. Just to because he was like, I don't want to do anything risky with the ball,
Yeah.
so he slid down. I guarantee you can find this play somewhere. He literally is rolling left. Travis Kelsey rolls off of his guy, and he is wide open directly in front of him. There is nobody guarding him, and Patrick Mahomes doesn't even glance at him. And there's a lot of plays like that. Like either the receivers just can't get any separation, or Mahomes is looking at one side of the field, not even paying attention to the other side of the field. It's like no one's on the same page. It's completely different than what we've seen in Kansas City the last 3 years. Like it doesn't even look like the same team when when I rewatch the games, they look completely different.
So, do you think it's because the defense, the way teams are playing them, it's I mean, obviously they're dropping more people back in coverage. So it's like it is a lot harder to get separation or get into a gap where there's nobody at, right? So I just imagine like playing me on Madden, okay? And I'm not saying you because you always kick my ass, but for somebody that's never played me before and how I play, how frustrating it would be when I drop every single person back into coverage and rush three guys every time. It just takes the fun out of the game because I'm gonna make you just do the dink and the dunk and run the ball every single play. And it's like, does that just take the fun kind of out of what they like to do? I mean, it does take
Oh,
away what they like to do.
I would say you're probably right. That has something to do with it. But the problem here is, so the first time someone really did this to us was the AFC Championship game that we went to against the Patriots when they blitzed four the entire game. The game we lost because D Ford was offsides. They blitzed four the entire game and dropped seven, and we struggled then. And we've struggled. We struggled throughout the last 2 years, and finally now everyone's catching on to it. So everyone's doing it. They're just blitzing four and dropping seven. How long do you have to see that to realize you've got to change what you're doing? Like,
Yeah, and what's the answer? I mean, Andy Reid obviously is the genius here, right? Like, I think we both have faith in him to figure this out. And I was telling you kind of right as the game started yesterday and before that I felt like our motions, I felt like our little jet sweep pass things, whatever you want to call them, I felt like we've kind of gone away from that, which is a lot of the deception and stuff that's created open space. And I felt like we seen some of that return last night, but it didn't work in our favor as far as obviously the long ball, the balls thrown past the line of scrimmage. But I mean, I think maybe it's part of that. Maybe we're not deceiving the defenses like we have been in the past. 'Cause, I mean, that's a big part. Like, yes, we're still motioning a little bit, but I felt like before we're like motioning three people or two people. It's just ridiculous stuff.
so I think it all contributes. I agree with you, but what I'm saying is like I'm not kidding. I watched the game today, and like either receivers aren't getting open at all, or Mahomes isn't even looking at the guy. There were times that Mahomes would be looking right, and there would be a guy wide. Like it was Josh Gordon It was a third down. Mahomes took a shot downfield. They were coming toward us. I don't know if you remember. It was like 3rd and 9 or something like that. I watched it today again. They took a shot downfield. I believe it was to Hardman. And Josh Gordon on the left side of the field is wide open for like a 10-yard pass. Wide open. And that happened multiple times. Like, I get it. Teams are dropping 7. But there's times there are guys wide open and Mahomes doesn't even look at them. Like, I just don't understand what's going on. Like, it's almost, and I don't want to, I think Patrick Mahomes is as talented as a quarterback as in the NFL. But it's almost like sometimes Patrick Mahomes can't read the defense. Like, I'm not kidding. There's times when the defense leaves a guy wide open and Mahomes doesn't even see it. Or we just can't get anyone open. Like, it's twofold. It's our receivers struggling to get open and Mahomes just missing guys.
And to an extent, I think he's actually kind of said before that he struggles sometimes with the new defense and struggles to kind of figure it out. Like, I feel like he said that before in a press conference. But once he figures it out,
over and over this year. They said over and over this year they're seeing things that no one else in the NFL sees, and I'm sure that teams are trying to switch things up a lot against them because trying to confuse them. Like, I'm sure every down they're seeing different guys drop into different zones. I'm positive that's what's happening. But that's not an excuse. Okay. That's really not an excuse.
But to say that he doesn't see him though, like, we seen twice last night where he looked one way, turned the other way, and then literally just turns around and chucks it to Darrell Williams, who you would have no idea if he was even covered at that point, honestly. Like,
and he does that stuff a lot, but he never sees the guy who's wide open. He literally will make some racket. He had a touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill after running around for 5 seconds, and Tyreek Hill came around and threw that amazing pass. But then there was a guy wide open. I'm not kidding when I tell you Josh Gordon is wide open on the left side of the field for a 10-yard pass on 3rd and 9. I will show you the clip after this.
Sure, maybe he misses a guy every once in a while, but we're talking about the plays.
It was multiple times last night.
You're telling me, but you're talking just a recent sample size then? Because obviously Mahomes is not known exactly for not seeing open guys. I mean, he's right.
So I watched.
Or is it's literally Andy Reid's play design that gets the guy open every time, and then Mahomes is literally instructed to throw it to Tyreek Hill when he's wide open?
Well, I mean, I don't think that's exactly how it works, but I think he has reads, and he only looks at those reads.
Okay. I disagree, honestly. I don't think he even has reads. I was saying last week that I think they need more scripted plays. I don't think they ever have a freaking scripted play.
Andy Reid is the most scripted coach in the NFL.
They pick their own routes. They were talking about how they got to stop doing that and get in the right page.
No.
They find the gap.
No. Travis Kelce in the middle of the field, when he knows other people's routes, has the freedom to find the gap. That's what they say.
And you don't think Tyreek Hill does?
Well, against the zone, everyone's got to find the gap. That's your job against the zone. You can't just go run a crossing route against the zone because someone's going to be in the zone. Yeah. You have to find, that's how you find the opening against the zone defense. That's what everyone does against the zone defense, or else you're never going to be open.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But I don't necessarily think it's Mahomes' fault at all.
So you don't think there's any blame on Mahomes on how the offense is going right now?
I don't. I think that I think you'd be overreaching a little bit to blame him more than anything. I mean, sure, yeah.
I said it's twofold. I said our receivers, some plays there's nobody open, but then there's plays. I'm telling you, it was like third. I think it was 3rd and 9, literally wide open on the left side of the field. Josh Gordon, he doesn't even look over there. He throws to McCole Hardman downfield for like he does 35-yard. I don't know. I think it might have been Tyreek actually. It was down the right sideline, and he overthrew him on like 3rd and 9, and Gordon was wide open on the left side of the field. Then the last play right before that field goal, Travis Kelce, you can see him directly in front of him, runs an in route, acts like he's going to go out, rolls into the middle of the field. He's right in front of Patrick Mahomes the entire time, and Mahomes doesn't even look at him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to, you rewatched the game. I didn't rewatch the game, but he's still going to miss guys every once in a while.
Maybe I'm just frustrated because the Chiefs suck right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got every right to be frustrated. I mean, you try to defend the win, a win's a win, and I get it, but man, you just It does not. It builds zero confidence coming off of a 3-point win against the Giants for me to say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go beat the Packers." Sure thing, buddy. I got no hope.
And
I got no
maybe
hope this
Vegas
week.
knows something we don't know because for some reason we opened as
I
2.5-point favorites. I'm
I
not sure. I
I
don't know if
know.
Vegas is trying to lose money this week on that game or what.
Seriously, like we were talking about this on the ride home, and I was like contemplating in my head like how much money I would be willing to bet on this game, and I was like, would I be willing to lose 1,000? Like
I was thinking
that
like
seems like a lot, but I
I
could
was thinking
easily
like
throw
emptying out
100.
the savings accounts and everything. I was
Yeah,
just gonna
I mean
put it
I
on
could
there.
easily throw 100 on the Packers, honestly.
We're
Ugh.
trying to sell our house anyway. See if somebody will buy it this week and then just put all that money on the Packers.
And I feel like a really bad fan right now, but like honestly, like the line was just too good to not bet on the Packers. Just in my
I don't know.
opinion.
It's also weird the Cardinals are only 1-point favorites against the 49ers. So maybe Vegas just knows something about this week that we don't
What?
know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look at the parity in the league. We're let's see, the Titans won, right? So they're 6-2, or no, they lost, but they're 6-2,
Oh,
right?
the
Well,
the
regardless.
Titans won. They beat
Okay.
the Colts in overtime. They're 6-2. Yeah.
Okay, so they're 6-2 because they almost lost, and we were literally a game and a half back from first place. Like that's
Yeah, we're
that,
2 games
the
back from first
parity, the fact that we have lost 4 games and literally have a chance to win the division because we still play the Oakland Raiders twice is insane. And
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. Like is every team just equal this year? Like is that just how it is?
Well, we're not equal. We're 4-0 against teams under 500 or worse. We're 4-0 against teams 500 or worse. We're 0-4 against teams above 500.
We beat bad
And
teams.
for the record, we have the Broncos left twice. That's the only team left that's 500 or less.
So there is season left to be played, and it's funny because my dad always tells me this, but he always says, "Good teams beat bad teams," and like
I mean, it's
like you don't lose the bad teams if you're a good team, right? So I mean they're like proving that they're not gonna lose to the bad teams.
but you have to beat some good teams.
You do have to beat some good teams, but there is time left. That being said,
No,
do
I
I
agree.
think they're going to? That's another story, but
I haven't written the season off yet, but I mean I'm getting darn close. Like it's gotten.
oh yeah, I mean we're honestly like if we lose the pack, I mean we're 3 games away from writing off the season, right?
We have Packers, Cowboys, Raiders. These next 3. We need to win 2 of those
it's
games.
Packers, Raiders, Cowboys, right?
Or Packers, Raiders, Cowboys. We need to win 2 of those games.
We need to win all 3. If you want to convince me, we got to win all 3.
Well, I don't care about convincing you. If we win 2 of them, we're fine. I don't care if you're convinced or not.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like we got
come out of that 3-game stretch 2-1. We're still in the thick of things. That would be our best 3-game stretch of the year. We're playing 3 teams that have a combined 4 losses.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think that the Raiders aren't quite as good, honestly. I mean, I said the same thing about the Chargers, and they've lost a couple games here recently. So, I mean, I don't think that they're as good, but hey, maybe it was Gruden that was holding them back this whole time.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they just turned a corner after Gruden got kicked out.
They just turned a corner. So, you know, do you want to give a prediction for this week?
Not particularly. I'll say Chiefs 27, Packers 24.
Chiefs 27, Packers 24. Man,
I'm not doing that to try and convince myself. I'm not doing that at all. It's
Okay.
because I really think we're gonna win.
You honestly think we're gonna win?
No, look at my face, dude. I'm trying to convince myself.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going. I'm just gonna be realistic here. I'm gonna go with 31 Packers, 24 Chiefs, and.
Well, if we win, you don't get to cheer for the Chiefs the rest of the season.
Oh, I mean that's not fair, but I mean I'm just being realistic here. Like I can't say every week that they're gonna win when they're playing this poorly.
We'll see,
And
bro.
I said, I'm just honestly like I'm just trying to like jinx the jinx, because I said early on that we're not gonna
Is
turn the ball over 37 times, and we're still on pace to turn the ball over 37 times.
is it the GEHA field? Is that the
Yeah,
jinx
I
or
think that's part of the
what's
problem.
the jinx?
Do you also notice that my camera right now has me blurry and has the field like right?
Yeah,
This is
that's
like
kind of weird.
messed up, but who cares? There's like at this point we got what, maybe 2 people listening, so.
All right, let's move on from the Chiefs. I said if we lost, I didn't want to talk about them. We almost lost. We really shouldn't have spent any time talking
Oh
about them.
yeah, that's right. You weren't even supposed to talk it. You even said that you might not even talk after how terrible it was. Like, this is gonna be a real quick segment about the Chiefs.
So we got torn label, house brew today. It's an ale brewed with coffee, 6.5% alcohol. Torn labels here in Kansas City. I think did we do one torn label
I
beer
don't know.
already or
I
no?
think this is my first torn label beer, honestly.
I thought we did one already. I don't know. Maybe
I
I'm
don't
wrong.
know. You're the one that's supposed to be keeping the Excel sheet with all the rankings, which might be really hard now because we have done a lot of rankings, especially on
Luckily
TikTok.
they're all on TikTok.
It's
So
crazy
I'll do that.
because
As soon as we get off here, I'll do them all.
when we first started doing this, I was like, oh man, like we might like run out of beers to try eventually, but dude, we haven't even like touched so much. Like, it's crazy. We haven't even like scratched the surface yet. I was like looking at the Crane Brewing beers, and I'm like, man, we got to try some of those still. So, all right,
Not to
cool.
mention, City Barrel has a new beer every week for us to try.
So obviously this is a coffee beer. Kelsey's probably not gonna like it. I did pick it out because, well, I love coffee beer. I mean, there's not much better on than at 7 o'clock in the morning than a coffee beer. So yeah, ooh, man, I was really hoping I wouldn't like this one as much, but this is pretty solid. I really like the initial flavor. It's very coffee at the beginning, then really fades. But the coffee that they're using is got to be good coffee. It's got to be pretty solid. I know like Mother's uses a local coffee there in Springfield, which I think makes it just a little more robust, and that's why that's probably my favorite. But this is a good beer. I'd give it I'm gonna give it like a 7.2. I'd give it like a first down.
Like you said, I'm not a huge coffee fan. This beer isn't terrible though, honestly. It does have a coffee taste at first. I'd give it a 6.5.
Okay. I wonder what the highest coffee, like what would it have to be, like what would a coffee beer have to be for you to rate it like an 8?
Well, I'm not trying to rate it by like what I like.
Yeah, you're rating it based on coffee beers.
Yeah, so the reason why I rated this one 6.5 is because it doesn't. You said it has a nice coffee taste, and so I'm gonna contradict you right now.
Okay.
Like I feel like I can taste the coffee at first, and then it tastes like an ale.
That's what I said. You can taste it
like
right at the
ale.
beginning. It's a really rich, nice coffee right at the beginning, and it just kind of.
So I guess I don't know what people look for in a coffee beer. Maybe people just want that coffee taste and then want to taste the ale, after. I don't know. If you're looking for a coffee beer that tastes like coffee, I would probably say there's ones that have stronger coffee taste, in my opinion. But
so
I don't know. It's
kind of off topic here, but I like coffee beers. Like for some reason, I really do. But like, who's the guy that's going out and just drinks coffee beer like the whole night? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm gonna grab a 6-pack of Mother's Winter Grind, just pound that tonight. Like,
I don't know.
who's
I
doing
mean,
that?
I assume that they're not drinking it all night. Like there's a lot of, I don't know. I guess maybe they could be. There's a lot of beers though that people just drink like one of, like stouts and stuff like that. People aren't drinking a 6-pack of stouts all night. Usually, I mean, somebody probably does, but usually people aren't drinking a 6-pack of stouts all night.
So like, my ideal place to drink a coffee beer, okay? 7 o'clock in the morning, as soon as you get through the gate at a Chiefs game. Like, that is the perfect time.
Sunday noon game.
I should say as soon as you get through like the gate for the parking. As soon as you park, that's the perfect time. I mean, it's early in the morning and you're about to tailgate all day long anyways. Like it's a good way to start off the day,
Yeah.
especially if you're a coffee
And
drinker.
to be completely honest, I could drink a coffee beer. Like one coffee beer isn't bad. I hate coffee, but coffee beers, they aren't as overwhelming taste as coffee. So I could drink a coffee beer. I I couldn't go any further than that. Like a coffee beer is enough for me.
Oh, and the first down reference actually came from a somebody that's been following our beer reviews, and they said they suggested that we actually rate our beer based on like is it a first down, is it a touchdown, is it a punt or a sack? Which honestly was a really good idea. I kind of liked it, so that's why I kind of threw it in there at the end. Like maybe that's something we start doing.
Yeah, we could. I think what we should do is we should rate them numbers still, and then like both of us agree. Hey, this one's a field goal. This one's a
Okay.
first down. This one's a
On
touchdown.
a
This one's a
so the rule is that we will agree on what it is afterwards.
yes.
Okay, I like that. And so yeah,
And then we'll just come. Basically, what we should do, I think, is average the numbers or something, and like have a scale. If it's a 10 to a 9, then it's a touchdown. If it's a 9 to, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I honestly want to keep the numbers going because we've been doing it with so many.
Yeah. Don't want
Uh,
to ditch it yet.
that being said, though, appreciate David for reaching out. It was a good suggestion. Honestly, like I really liked it. Hold on, we got the women's soccer team, right?
Kansas City Current is they finally announced their name on Saturday,
That's
and
the
then last week,
hold on, the current.
yeah,
So is this like the water, like a
yeah,
water
yes,
current?
like a current, yes, like
I mean,
water.
their
Current.
stadium's going to be on the river, which was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But
They're
man,
they're gonna
that
have the
just
first ever women's soccer stadium. Actually, I think it's first ever women's sports stadium devoted just to the women's team, right? And their goal, I think, is to use it for events and stuff. Because I mean, the stadium, it's all privately funded. So
yeah, it's the first privately funded one, right, for women's soccer.
yeah, I think yeah,
I think that's what I read. Don't you think they could have come up with something a little better than the current?
yes, I agree. They probably could have soccer. I don't know, a lot of soccer teams. Although I guess I don't know.
Yeah, soccer teams obviously have like strange names, anyways. I guess it's only strange
I
to.
guess they're gonna be called the KC Current, not the Kansas City Current. I don't know if that helps.
I mean, honestly, it kind of does. Kind of helps a little bit.
So it is the first women's soccer league stadium built for the women's team. It's the first ever, not privately funded. It's the first ever built for the women's team, and they have like the plans for it look awesome, and they want to use it for other events. Like they want to try and have other events here for it. So that's pretty cool. Like they were talking about potentially like college soccer. There's no better stadium to have like the national championships in than a brand new stadium that's riverfront in Kansas City. Like they're trying to use it for stuff like that.
And this
Um,
is Brittany Matthews is a partial owner, right?
yes.
Okay. And some people might not like this, but I think it really solidifies that soccer in Kansas City is not going away, and it's here to stay. And I think it proves that we're becoming a real soccer city.
I just think in general, the things that we're seeing come to Kansas City are exciting. Like we already talked about in this podcast, the draft, potentially the World Cup. I mean, it's all good for the city. Get people in here, see this. Kansas City has one good breweries. We're proving that weekly. Like there's beer everywhere in Kansas City, and it's a lot of good breweries, good food.
Which
And I think
which we need
in
to prove
general,
more weekly, honestly.
and in general, yeah, we need to work on that. Good food, good breweries, and I mean, just I think everyone likes the people in Kansas City too. It's just I don't know. I love Kansas City. You love Kansas City, and I'm glad that we're seeing more people getting to come to Kansas City.
Yeah, it's funny. It's becoming more destination, but it's funny you say people like Kansas Cityans, I should say, because the people that were sitting behind us what was it? Is today Tuesday? Yeah, last night at the Chiefs game, the people that were sitting behind us, one of them was from San Diego, and I was talking about how going to San Diego and watching a sporting event there, and nobody wants to talk to you ever. Like during the game, on the way to the game, on the tram, like it's just so weird compared to Kansas City sports where it's like nobody. It was funny because we thought we were sitting next to a bunch of season ticket holders because as soon as we got down there, it was like, oh, hey, Jim. Oh, hey, Bob. It's like everybody was just like best friends down there. And it turned out that the only people that were season ticket holders were the people behind us. And I was like, that's insane. Like, I thought everybody here was a season ticket holder because.
And we were high-fiving everybody,
Yeah.
talking to everybody, celebrating with everybody.
And I haven't been to enough stadiums to say that that's not. I'm sure that it's like that in a lot of places. But I will tell you that in Petco Park, it is not like that. People there don't want to talk about anything. The only time that I had somebody next to me at Petco Park, and I went to Petco Park for a few different times. The All-Star, I went to watch the All-Star game, which was awesome there. It is a really beautiful stadium with an awesome backdrop, so definitely a cool stadium to check out. But it was really funny is we went to like a week's worth of games, and I got to talking to somebody, and guess where they were from? Kansas City. I was like, what is the odds of that, right? Like
that's the most bizarre story.
That's so bizarre, right? And so it was kind of funny, but yeah, like riding the tram down, nobody wants to talk to you. The Padre fans didn't want to talk to me. Like it was just weird experience compared to being like in Kaufman, where everybody's just like, everybody's friends, everybody's happy, even though we suck. So
happy for the first 4 innings, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. And as always, don't stop smoking the meats.
The meats.